Hello, welcome to another tutorial in the series of FW app development. Today we will be talking about the bread methods. Now, the bread methods are predefined methods on the server side of the app that help us interact with data. These methods are unique to the FW app system, which means that the browse, read, edit, add, and delete methods are not global concepts that can be applied outside of this. The way this works is that the client will send a request that contains one of the bread methods or another custom method with the required data. This can be triggered by, say, clicking a button, visiting a web page, deleting an item, renaming a document, or adding a new document, for some examples. Now, the browse method is really what it sounds like. You are browsing for something and it returns all the records that you browse for. Imagine that you're going to a store and search for a golden ticket that is in one box of cereal out of millions, and you're trying to find that golden ticket. So you go to a worker there at, say, Jewel Osco, and you ask, hey, can you show me all the boxes of cereal that you have? So the worker goes to the cereal aisle and starts dumping all the boxes of cereal off all the shelves in a cart and brings them back to you and shows you all the boxes of cereal. That would be a browse, because you are finding everything, all the records in the table, and returning them to the client, which is us in this case. And as you can imagine, doing so would not require an ID of any sorts, because it is just cereal. And if you look down at the table here, the aisle, so to speak, would be this specific database table, which is called checklist_list. And you wouldn't need to refer to any specific IDs. And moving on to the read method, imagine the same analogy as before, but in this case, you think that one of those boxes that you browsed potentially had the ticket in it. Specifically, one of the Lucky Charms boxes. This one right here. And you know which one that was. You remembered the serial number, which was 265 in this case. So for a read method, you do need the ID, just as you would need the serial number in this case. And so the client, which is you with the worker, asks the worker, hey, can you get me box with the serial number 265? And so the worker goes back and retrieves box 265, and you shake it to feel for the ticket. And that is how the read method works. By now you're pretty confident that the golden ticket was in that box that you chose. But you realize that you forget your money at home. So you have to store the box somewhere on the shelf and prevent someone from getting it somehow. So what you have done is you tell the worker to go up to the box and put a new sticker over the Lucky Charms label and make it Lucky O's instead. What he did was an edit. In order to do the edit, it requires an ID. A delete is also similar to an edit or a read in the sense that it needs a specific ID. And it basically does exactly what you'd expect. It deletes the record. So in this case, another worker at the store walks by the cereal aisle and realizes that Lucky O's is not really a cereal. So he grabs a hold of the box and deletes it. The store manager realizes that they're down a cereal box and decides to add a new box. As you can imagine, a worker that's going through the aisle doesn't really care what the ID is of the box. They just grab the cereal box and they throw it on the shelf and they forget about it. That's exactly what an add does for us. As it adds one record to the table. We don't care about the ID or any of that. However, the ID is actually returned to the client. So the added record is returned to the client in the same way that's done with an edit. So let's review the bread methods. So browse finds all the records in a table and returns them to the client. Does not require a specific ID. Read finds one record in a table and returns it to the client, and it does require a specific ID. Edit is just like a read, except it also edits it. and it does require a specific ID like a read. Add just adds something to the table, does not require an ID at all, and returns it to the client. A delete finds one record in a table and deletes it, and this does require specific ID. It's just like a read, but it also deletes. And these are the bread methods.